Help on the Way for Orchestra is my first orchestral work. It's a symphony, and I'm trying to hear performed this June 2024. Oh my goodness, I know. We're going to talk about that in just a second, or at the very least, in my lifetime. I'd like to share with you what have I accomplished this week. Some of the things we're going to talk about are the June 2024 deadline. We'll talk about where we're at. We're going to talk about programming Help Us on the Way. And I will discuss some of the orchestras that I've been in touch with. And we'll also touch upon some nefarious kind of comments that have popped up, just a couple. But first, the June 2024. So many of you have rightfully pointed out the June 2024 is absolutely ridiculous. It is insane. It's ridiculous. It's untenable. And I agree 100%. I agree. Most orchestras, they need they have to plan a couple seasons out, maybe 1, 2, 3 years. So to want a performance for June 2024 seems very unreasonable, but let's be real. We can't always control the things we want. So for my hardcore subscribers, at the very end of this video, I will explain the reasoning why I insist on June 2024. There is a very, what I think is a valid reason. But just to reassure everyone, in my correspondence with the orchestras, I don't mention the date, right? They have to decide based on their needs, their programming, so the date never comes up. But nevertheless, I do insist on June 2024 in my public communications for a very specific reason, which I will be discussing at the very end, just for the hardcore subscribers. Okay. Where are we at? It's hard to say because the only real success in my eyes, okay, is to have an actual concert that we can invite people to and to actually have the concert, right? What if we say there's a concert and then the concert never happens, it gets snowed out? Whew. So that is the real success, okay? So until I have something tangible to start announcing, to start promoting, I just don't know what I can say. Okay, I think we're in a good place. I've been contacting orchestras, which I'll discuss shortly. I've been getting responses, which is very nice. But again, what we want is something tangible, like to hear Help Us on the Way for orchestra. That's what we want, is to hear it. Because right now, it is, it's just fiction in a way. We haven't heard it. Okay. Yeah, I've played some samples on piano. Yeah, I have the score available for purchase on my website. But still, it's, theoretical. It's fiction. The goal is to hear it performed and live. Something I want to mention that I think that will be very important. So let's say we do get the concert date. Okay. First of all, I want that concert sold out. So I will be promoting it like crazy. So I will hope everyone understands the battle's not over when there's a concert, right? First off, I need to make sure that I have some amount of artistic control. I can, ideally consult with the conductor a couple of times to make sure the interpretation reflects my intentions. Because when composers don't work with the performers, many times there's a miscommunication. So that's, something I would discuss at a later point with the conductor. Biggie. But also we need to make sure that people come, right? So the next battle, once there's a concert, is to promote it. And it's going to take a very, very long time. A lot of people, I don't know where the performance will be, but assuming it's in Central Jersey or in New Jersey, a lot of people can't get that close. So it would be finding newer audiences. I definitely think when I have a performance scheduled, I will be going crazy. I will be going crazy. I mean, I'm going to be posting all the time. Maybe I'll make a separate Instagram just for the performance. I don't know. But that I will have the energy for. But what will limit me, I think, is not having some kind of teaser, right? A sample, what is it going to sound like? Okay. And I will be addressing some of the questions about MIDI, electronic music, a little bit later in this video. Just write a note for myself to do that. I forget. But if I have this awesome work, Help Us on the Way for Orchestra, and I'm promoting it and say, oh, there's a concert this day, come to the concert. But if there's not a sample, right? When you watch a commercial on TV and there's a movie, they show you samples, right? You see certain key scenes, okay? So how do we get a sample? Well, I think the ideal situation would be there would be a collaborative working relationship with the orchestra. So it's not just like, they're like, okay, we'll program it, and then there's no communication, but there's a back and forth. So I would go to rehearsals and I could hear it, and then, take some video footage, of, the best moments. And then throughout the year, like leading up to the concert, I could promote it, like, oh, check out this new sample, check out this. And I also think that's important because I think that is the way forward in classical music, because a lot of people are scared to go to a classical music concert because they think they'll get bored. Okay, they're worried they're gonna feel like they don't really get it, they don't like it, so I think to help prevent this and to anticipate another possibility is to bring people into the process, to show, look what we accomplished rehearsal. It could be as simple as that. Okay, at the end of rehearsal, do a run through or just take a small section. Okay, so I just mentioned that because I do think it would be very, very beneficial for promoting the concert, because that's going to be a whole nother battle, is to get people to come to the concert, and then, of course, the future of classical music. But it will be up to the orchestra. For example, if it's a youth orchestra, there's always a legal question. Can the children be photographed? I would have, all these other details will have to get worked out. But I'm just sharing this so you understand how I really see, how I would like this to plan out. I don't want just, they program the piece and that's it. No, I want the general public involved. I want them to see all the work that goes in, okay? I want them to see, first they saw me playing on piano and they hear what it sounds. It's very abstract. Then they hear a rehearsal. Okay, here's how it sounds. Then they go to the concert and it's already familiar and like, oh, whoa, this is what Help Is on the Way is, right? That is going to be amazing. Okay, but we're not there yet. We need to get... We need to get an orchestra that wants to program it. So I like to talk about that. One other thing I just want to mention is when we have a concert date, my goal is to get tickets sold out, and I want a waiting list. Seriously, I want this concert to be like, boom, all right? I would like to talk about some of the orchestras. I will not be mentioning any orchestras by name because we don't have a working relationship yet. But a third orchestra got back to me here in Jersey. And I have to say, with some of these orchestras, they get back this next day. So it's nice to see there's a quicker line of communication, more direct. And the director was very interested in my music. She was interested in the opportunity. She said she's very busy. And I could tell that she's kind of running around doing lots of things. And she seems like she's really rising, or she's already risen. But she wasn't very enthusiastic, and I got a very good impression from her. So I think she asked to see the score and to know a little bit about me, so I sent like a biography or whatever. And just from that one exchange, I really, really want to work with her. I think she's going to work really, really hard on the piece. I think she would take the task very seriously. She sounds like someone who is a very good public communicator, which is also important to me. Just remind me, I have another conductor story I have to talk about. But this conductor, just based on one exchange, I have such a positive feeling. I really hope that we can have a discussion. But of course, it's up to her, okay? But I just say that because, you kind of have to celebrate the small wins along the way. But of course, we can't get addicted. You can't throw up. It's kind of like a relationship, right? You meet someone new and then you start blabbing to your friends. Oh my God, I met the guy. He's the one. And you feel so, and then, he doesn't respond to your text. Oh no. It's kind of like that. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. All right. But at the very least, it's nice to form new connections with people. A second orchestra I contacted recently, they were interested, and then I sent what they required, and they got back to me and said, unfortunately, they can't program it for the very simple reason is they are mostly strings now. Unfortunately, a lot of orchestras have diminished capacity, and so Help Is on the Way for orchestras for full orchestra. So there's 2 flutes, 2 oboes, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, 4 horns, 2 trumpets, 3 trombones, 1 tuba, 1 timpanist, 2 percussion, and the strings. So this is a normal size for an orchestra. It's very doable for, most orchestras. But the reality is when you're starting a little bit smaller, a lot of youth orchestras, they don't have enough students that are participating, okay? So, but she was very, very helpful, and she gave me suggestions of where else to contact. In fact, she mentioned a certain orchestra that I had already contacted who hadn't responded. So I think what I'll do is wait some time and try contacting someone else from the orchestra. So I'm really glad that she took the time to give me some advice. That's very kind of her. Testing. Okay. I also want to mention very briefly, a conductor reached out to me. I think I've been mentioning a couple conductors. They seem to be at the beginning of their careers, just finishing college, but definitely have promising careers. Reached out to me, and well, I don't want to give it away because I don't know if it'll work out. But he showed me a clip of him conducting his orchestra. He did an entire concert. Now, it's a lot of music to learn. He was doing his undergraduate studies at the time. So that's a lot to do, to conduct an entire concert and to be doing full-time school. And I really, really liked what he was able to accomplish with the limited means. It was a community orchestra. They don't have lots of funding, but with what he had, he did a lot. So I wrote back to him and said I would like to work with him. I think there's a certain movement that helps us in the way that would be perfect for him, especially he's trying to start a new orchestra. So at the very least, I share this because even if something doesn't work out, you form new social relationships with people. A fourth orchestra responded, and I can't really say much. They just kind of said, okay, I'll forward it to our team. So we'll see. But again, it's nice to have some feedback. Now I want to talk about something a little bit nefarious. Okay. I've had mostly really beautiful comments on the Instagram, for example, for Help Us on the Way, on YouTube, wherever. A lot of support, a lot of people offering suggestions. That's really, really invaluable. I really appreciate that. But I have had a small sliver minority of comments that are truly, truly ignorant. There is no other way to put it. And I would like to officially address it so people understand how I perceive these kinds of remarks. I recently have started on the Instagram, trying to show the score more. Again, that's very time consuming, so I can't really do that often. And I tried to play on piano to give an impression, of course, the best I can. And one person wrote a remark basically saying, I'm paraphrasing, but basically saying that this is obviously not good music. This is nothing because you have an arpeggio. This is all you have to show is an arpeggio. So those of you who don't know, an arpeggio is a chord that has been broken up. So fa, la, do, la, fa. Okay, instead of playing it all at once in the piano is broken, you arpeggio it, you break it, okay? And for example, Mozart, his Eine kleine Nachtmusik goes do 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 yeah do 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 do, right? That's just an arpeggio, okay? And this comment basically was saying, well, first of all, it was someone who was musically trained who could recognize an arpeggio, but that's very superficial, and said basically this could not be of substance, that this was inferior composition, that this is amateur, there's nothing special about it because he recognized an arpeggio. I think this is profoundly ignorant. I think the great music that we appreciate is almost always simple. Even Bach, who is considered more complicated, I think at the heart is quite simple. He was definitely very contrapuntal, but it still is very simple. Beethoven is very, very simple. Okay, some of the great parts of Beethoven, which I'll sing in a short bit, are very, very simple. So to make a remark about that, like basically saying that simplicity was proof that it was not of quality, not a masterpiece, not something substantial, is very, 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 very ignorant. Okay, can't negotiate with that kind of ignorance. You can't. There's another section I had shown, I call it La Cadence Magnifique. It's so gorgeous. And it's the ending of this section. And it's just kind of this royal cadence, and everything is it's perfectly poised and it's lifted, and it's just everyone's playing together, but it's this clean, really fresh, bright sound. But of course I had to play that piano, but I showed the score. Another person said, basically, well, you just did a music theory orchestration homework. Okay. Again, profoundly ignorant. Okay, some of the great stuff in Beethoven, the ending of many of his symphonies, bum, 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 bum. But it's just very, very simplistic. Okay, simplistic or simple rather. Okay, so to make those kind of comments, like those kind of, I don't consider them critiques. I really think it is someone who is profoundly, profoundly ignorant. Another thing is in a couple of these instances, maybe it was the same comments or linked to them. I've had people say like, oh, well, this can't be great. All you did is this, all you did is, and then they somehow went to my other YouTube channels, like my teaching channel, and said, oh, and I looked at your teaching channel, you have all these mistakes, you talk about things you don't know you're talking about, basically saying I'm incompetent, that I'm an amateur, that I don't have any training, and suggesting that I will never amount to anything. I think this is deplorable. I think these people who speak like this have no idea what they're talking about. No idea at all what they're talking about. No idea at all. And I do find it a bit alarming because I think it speaks to university education. I think some of these people have been, unfortunately, in university programs that there's a certain kind of, I don't know how to put it, there's a certain esprit, as we say, in which simple music or music that's direct or beautiful is considered inferior. It definitely took me, I went through university education, and I definitely found when I was at university, I couldn't write the music I wanted to. I was always scared. I was scared it wasn't interesting enough, it wasn't this enough, that enough, intelligent enough. And it took me about 10 years to recover from that. I think there's a lot of great aspects of the university education, but the music I wrote when I was at Walnut Hill, the conservatory I went to in high school, was so pure and beautiful. And I noticed once I started getting ready for university education, I made my music more complex and like darker and try to feel, serious. And it really, I think, Help Is on the Way is the first piece I wrote since then. And my kind of masterpiece for my youth was The Sun Also Rises, which was in 2005, I think. So it wasn't until Help Is on the Way that I regained that like simplicity, just like beautiful, direct, beautiful music, not trying to be something, not trying to impress a jury. So I think these kind of ignorant comments are coming from students who have been a little bit indoctrinated. I don't say that to sound like a crazy politician who's attacking universities, but it is a reality in many universities. There are certain aesthetics that aren't really spoken directly, like, oh, you have to write like this, but it's definitely felt. And people respond accordingly. I will say I think this music is perfect for the general public. It is very beautiful music. It's very accessible. I have started marketing it as such with some of the youth orchestras, like mentioning I think this is great for the parents and the children. I think everyone's going to like it. The names of the movements, for example, are A Safe Home, okay, Hypnosis, The Great Elephants, The Terror, and The Great Rescue. So we see some kind of story that you could tell, okay? You don't have to tell a story, ultimately it's just music, but you see there's a thought there, there's something really beautiful. And of course, Beethoven's Sixth Symphony, the Pastoral Symphony, which was a big inspiration for Help Is on the Way, it also has, kind of suggestions like that of what's taking place. One final note about, it just can't be great music because it's simple. Those of you who know my Harmony for the General Public series, okay, it's a series in which I talk about harmony, but in layman's terms so anyone can understand, okay. Not many people are watching at the moment, but hey, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, or whatever the expression is. I do the best I can. You'll know in that series I talk always about tonic and dominant, and why is that? Well, some of the great passages in Beethoven are tonic and dominant, 1 and 5, tonic and dominant. Very, very simple. And Help Us on the Way also has that simplicity. The harmony is just very direct and simple, but there actually is something very special about this harmony. It's very different from how Beethoven uses harmony, but I want to talk in another video about that. I want to quickly touch about MIDI, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. And then for the hardcore subscribers, if you really want to stay to the end, then I will reveal why I am insisting on June 2024, even though it's absolutely crazy. A lot of people keep asking for MIDI. They want to see a MIDI. They want to see a MIDI. A MIDI is an electronic music file. I have resisted because I do not like the sound of MIDI. I think it sounds really bad. However, a number of you have mentioned workarounds. There's certain software you can get. There's certain things you can do, and you can get, according to you, a good sounding MIDI that gives a realistic impression of the symphony. I have not had time to investigate that, but I will. I assume probably summertime I will have time to investigate it. But for now, I'm sorry, but the MIDI is, it just doesn't sound good. I think I'd like to leave things there. So thank you so much for watching. And for the hardcore subscribers, if you would like to stay a little bit longer, I would like to share with you some more information. Okay, my wonderful hardcore subscribers. Yes, thank you for staying. So, like I said in the very beginning, Help on the Way for Orchestra is my wondrous masterpiece in 5 movements. I want to see it performed this June 2024. That desire, or rather that expectation, is unreasonable. Okay, I agree. However, it is a desire that I have. It is a very profound desire. It is very, very important to me to hear it this June 2024, and I would like to reveal the reason why I am insisting on June 2024, despite the fact that it is unreasonable, impractical, and ridiculous. Okay, and just to finally reiterate, in my correspondence with these orchestras, I have not said, oh, you have to program. Don't mention the date at all. So I'm just saying in my public communication, there's a very specific reason. There are 2 specific concrete reasons why I'm insisting on June 2024, even though it is very impractical. Okay, there are 2 reasons. I'll give you the first reason today. I had a dream or a vision that Help Is on the Way would be performed in this June. Okay, it wasn't a dream that happens, at nighttime. It's just, I don't know if other people have it, but you're walking and then you see a vision of the future. And I saw Help Is on the Way performed. I saw it performed, and I understand that that's a fantasy in the head. That's not reality. It's just a vision in the head. It's just an image. So it doesn't mean anything, as people say. However, it really struck me. I saw it. I felt it. And I don't want to give too much more away, but I was there and I felt the music. And it was greater than I had even imagined it to be. And so, despite the fact that it is totally ridiculous and untenable to insist on a date that is impossible, I still insist on that date because I saw a vision, and until I no longer see the vision, I will insist on the date. So I understand that for the general public, it can be difficult to hear a composer talk in this manner because that's not rational, and of course it's not rational. I 100% agree, but I had a vision. So there it is. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.